Welcome to SveNFL.
What's up, y'all?
It's Jonathan Rollins.
Schif Musara.
And we're two Americans living in Sweden talking about football. Yeah, man, it's that time. Week 5 is in the books. We did okay, gambling-wise. And you can follow our gambling journey at patreon.com/SveNFL. See what bets we're making. You can also join our fantasy stuff on there as well. But, yeah, we did all right. A few surprises. Came out a little shocked. We'll talk about each game by game as we always do. But got a little shocked, man. The Giants came out, shocked the world, ruined a bunch of parlays.
Yeah.
But you were happy because you went into Sunday glad about your Falcons. And I'm happy that my Dolphins squeaked out what we like to call in the football world a horrible victory. The type of victory that doesn't make you feel good at all afterwards. But you just, at least it's a victory.
Yeah. That one was ugly. For sure.
Ugliest game. And then we're sitting there. I told you I started doing this thing where we have the Dolphins on the big TV and we bring my daughter's TV in next to it and have that with Red Zone next to it. And it just sucks to sit there and be looking at the Red Zone games that are all better than your game. You're just seeing it pop up like all these great highlights. It's like, man, that would be a fun game to watch. Anyway, we're going to run it on a draw play on 3rd and 12 again. And punt the ball.
The worst is when, like, my least favorite part about Red Zone, because we watch Red Zone mostly just to kind of keep the whole family interested, is when the Falcons game, the Falcons have the ball at midfield, and they run a play, and then you don't see them again for like another hour. It's like, I guess that didn't work.
I guess we fumbled. Yeah, so I guess Young Wei Koo didn't get a shot. So that was it's rough. But then again, I feel like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. If we just keep hanging in there, maybe we'll have a winning streak once our quarterback gets back. Yeah. I don't know, man. Enough about the Dolphins. Let's get into these games, man.
Let's do it. Let's start with Thursday night. The Falcons overtime thriller, 36-30 versus
Great
the
game.
Buccaneers. Early candidate for game of the year.
Yeah, it was really good.
So, okay, there's too many moments to mention in this game. Mooney and London with both over 100 yards and a bucket load of TDs. Kyle Pitts had a night. Cousins throws for a career best and a Falcons franchise record, 509 yards and 4 touchdowns. But it's all about the ending and that deep South drama playing out like a cinematic thriller.
Yeah.
This game was over, okay? The Bucs had a 90% win probability. Fuck you, Next Gen Stats, by the way. Fuck you. Cousins throws a pick late on 4th down. It's a gotta-have-it play. He throws a pick. But the Bucs blew it with a costly holding penalty that forced them to put the ball back into the Falcons' hands. And who would have thought that would be the last time the Bucs offense would touch the ball again? Right? 9-play drive with a minute and change, no timeouts, gave my guy Young Wei Koo a chance to avenge already missing 2 field goals earlier in the game. He missed one, he had one blocked. He pipes a 52-yarder with zeros on the clock to send it to overtime. Falcons win the coin toss. 4 plays later, Drake London leaves the game because he gets popped. And then in comes Kadarrell fucking Hodge, of all people. Okay? Catches a 5-yard dig route, curls out from under the defender, darts down the field, splits the Bucs defense completely, and takes it 45 yards to the house. Game-winning touchdown. Thanks for stopping by, Tampa Bay. Don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out of the A. I mean, wow.
It was a great game, man. It's nothing to be, I mean, we can't say it enough about great quarterback play and to make these games amazing. Baker Mayfield and Kirk Cousins going at it like that. It was dope, man.
It was dope.
It really was. This division's pretty fun. The Saints are fun. The Falcons have so much potential, and the Bucs have been playing past their potential already. The Saints as well. So imagine if the Falcons play up to their potential. You might have an exciting division. Of course the Panthers are panthering, but still 3 out of 4. What division is 3 out of 4 with exciting teams? Besides what, NFC West?
Yeah, exactly. This was the first Falcons game that showed us a version of the Falcons that we thought we were going to get this year. Whether or not they got to keep doing it, and also
I expect a better defense, though. I expected the Falcons defense to show better than they have this.
Well, the Falcons defense did kind of shut them down in the second half.
Oh, that's true. That is
They
true.
shut them down in the second half. So, yeah, it was very encouraging.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to say about this game, and this was the funniest thing that I heard after the game was over. So everyone saw this image of Kirk Cousins doing the swag surf.
Yeah.
With the crowd. He had just learned it earlier in the week. He was like, oh
really?
Yeah. So someone taught him how to swag surf, which is very funny. And this thing's getting posted all over Twitter and Instagram. The top comment on Twitter to this Kirk Cousins swag surfing thing was from a Falcons fan that said, quote, "Okay, Kirk, you can say the N-word now."
All right, you better watch out, Kirk.
I was like, Kurt, don't do it.
Make sure it's the right person telling you that, man. It better be Al Sharpton.
Don't do it.
That's funny.
Yeah, we don't have to linger on that game. We can move on to the first London game of the year. Jets, not looking very good against the Vikings.
Nah.
We got this one. We bet this one correctly. We bet the Vikings to cover this. We got that. The Jets struggled early in this game to even gain a first down. I think they only had like 2 first downs in the first half. But it went from bad to worse when Aaron done went and threw a pick 6 to your guy, former Dolphin Andrew Van Ginkel.
Yeah, man, miss him.
And then of course Rodgers comes back and throws a pick on the very next drive. Not good. Late touchdown pass from Rodgers to Lazard gave the Jets fans a little hope, and then the Jets defense played really well. They kind of neutralized Sam Darnold to a large degree. You had 2 defenses out there just balling basically in the second half.
You know what my magic number for this game is? 14. That's the amount of rushing attempts for the Jets. See if it's gonna work. Breece Hall's back. Braylon Allen's been playing all right. Why they only run the ball 14 times?
I mean, Rodgers
threw the ball 54 times.
Yeah, they tried to run early. It didn't work out very well. They bailed on the run. The thing that's a little concerning to me is that Breece Hall is supposed to be obviously their number 1 running back. By the time the second half rolled around, you could tell that the Jets had already decided that Braylon Allen was basically just as good. Yeah. I'm not sure. I mean, if they can't run the ball, they can't leave him back there in the pocket and ask him to throw it over 50 times. That's crazy. He had a chance to win this game late, and then he threw his 3rd interception of the night to Stephon Gilmore.
A really bad throw. But they, I was thinking about this. That the Rodgers, not thinking about this. It was pointed out on something. I saw somewhere a stat line that Rodgers hasn't thrown for over 300 yards in 29 games. Wow, that's not a good sign, y'all. It might be a wrap for them. And the Vikings were ready. It was like they were ready for him and all his tricks, man. Oh.
How many times did they sack him? They sacked him quite a bit too.
I want to say 5, but I don't know.
It's like 5 or 6.
Yeah, I want to say 5. I don't remember.
He came out of this one. He was a little.
No, they only had 3 sacks.
Oh, they only had 3 sacks.
Yeah, what's the name? The Jets got 4 sacks off of Bradford.
I mean, look, the Jets are more or less kind of what they were last year for the most part. The defense played really well against a good
Zach
team.
Wilson.
It's cheaper, less of a headache. But Yeah, I don't know. I don't even think at this point. I mean, the Devontae Adams rumors are still roaming around, but I don't know. I don't see that as your solution, really.
It's not a solution, man. I think they're kind of done.
Speaking of teams that are all out of solutions, let's move on to the Carolina Panthers, who got what's that word? Mollywopped by the Chicago Bears, 36-10. The Caleb Williams to DJ Moore connection got unlocked in this one.
He threw for over 300, man.
He did.
He looked really good. He looked good.
He looks really good. Yeah. My man, former Bulldog DeAndre Swift, looked good again, back-to-back weeks, so everybody can just quit your bitching. These Bears, they really have just gotten a little bit better every week, honestly.
Agreed.
And this was Caleb Williams' best game so far. It's still the Panthers, so you can't get
I was going to say, let's not go sucking each other's dick just yet.
No, and we knew the Andy Dalton experience had a shelf life. We've talked about that already.
Yeah.
And especially when you look, when you put him up against a Bears defense, which is pretty ferocious. That's been the one consistency the whole season. This defense is legit. And
even
next
in a revenge game.
Yeah, exactly. Whose revenge was? It's like there's so many like weird narratives in this game. It's like the Panthers have basically sold all their draft capital to the Bears, but they also gave DJ Moore somehow, and it's just I don't know. It's rough. Yeah. It's rough for them.
The next game is the possible game of the week: Ravens Bengals. It's up there with the Falcons and Bucs game.
I would argue that the Falcons-Bucs game is a little sneakier the game of the week because it wasn't really predicated on mistakes. This game, for as good as this game was, it all came down to a number of interesting mistakes at the end.
Yeah, good point.
What in the name of fumbling fuck-ups happened in this? I mean, it's like a entertaining barn burner, right? Lamar throws for 348 yards and 2 touchdowns. Burrow throws for 392 and 5 touchdowns. Jamar Chase has like nearly 200 yards receiving. But both teams basically tried to give this game away on multiple occasions, right? It comes down to overtime. Ravens look like they were going to drive down and score, but Lamar fumbles the snap.
Yeah.
Setting up a situation where all the Bengals needed was a field goal to win. And all I thought about at that point, as I watched the Bengals run 3 consecutive conservative run plays into the teeth of the defense, was Whack Taylor. I mean, it was such on a day where your quarterback has thrown for nearly 400 yards and 5 touchdowns, you can't get it a little closer.
Yeah.
Even still, I don't know. Kickers have been hitting from over 50 on the regular this year.
Yeah, he's one of the best too.
Really what it came down to is that the punter kind of fumbled the snap.
Yeah.
And you could see it. Like he managed to get it down just in time for Evan McPherson to kick it, but it was not set by any stretch of the imagination. And he hooks it wide left. Ravens get the ball back, and then King Henry just sets up. He just kinged it and set up Justin Tucker for a 24-yard chip shot for the win. I mean, this is worst case scenario for the Bengals. The sliding doors in this game is the one that's got to hurt for Bengals fans. If they win this game, they're tied with the Ravens at 2-3. Instead, they're 1-4.
Yeah, it was a huge loss. And Lamar Jackson looks like the best player in the NFL.
Agreed.
My God.
He was so – I mean, that play where he stiff arms Sam Hubbard like 2 times, just like pop, and then finds Isaiah Likely in the end zone. I don't think –
best play of the season.
I don't think you can find a better play so far this season.
Insane.
Yeah.
And then we move on.
A shit bowl brought to you by Xlex.
I don't like my team being a part of a shit bowl. Ever since Mike McDaniel's been brought on board, I didn't think we'd see this type of performance that we've seen over the last 3 weeks. But we've seen it, and Miami somehow won over the Patriots, who just happen to be just bad enough to lose this game. It's got to be frustrating for Patriots fans to have these games that it seems like they can win, and then they just don't have the talent in the end. But Miami came down and won the game in the end. I don't know what else to say, man.
I have a hard time manufacturing empathy for Patriots fans. I'm sorry.
Good point. Good point.
You should have to spend a decade.
Yeah, they spent it before, though.
In a state of irrelevance.
They've spent it before. They had a bunch of irrelevance before they finally flipped it around.
Yeah, here you go. Here's another era of darkness. Welcome.
I feel like one good thing for me as a Dolphins fan was seeing that Huntley is starting to get more of a grasp on the offense. You can see that there's more of the playbook besides the first time having like 6 days to prepare to start. But now it's like you can see more now. He's got a bye week. So we might see even more unlocked. So that's better. We expected Tyreek. He did factor in this game, but we expected him to score. He didn't quite get that far, but you can see the usage going up some. So maybe there's a little bright side. The good thing is got the victory. Still in the hunt with the other teams losing in the division. Every other team losing in the division, actually. So that helps.
I think the early bye is probably the best thing that's happened to you guys right now. Just take it, rest.
Yeah, it looks like there'll be one more game with Huntley, and then it'll be back to Tua if he stays on path. Because it's bye week, then we play the Colts. That's a winnable game, and then hopefully Richardson's back, so we can win that game. But yeah, that's all I got to say about that game. We can move on to the Browns and Commanders. I have a moving take on this one. I had to change my take. It was I was gonna really shit on Deshaun Watson, but I did not because of that one play.
Well, the Browns defense made it tough for Jaden Daniels in the beginning, but this kid stepped up and showed that he is more than ready to play all 4 quarters. Just dropping dimes all over the field. Commanders' run game was killing it too. Daniels led the way in that department, but Eckler looked great. McNichols, Brian Robinson Jr., all of them just pounding the rock. But in this one, coming into this game, everyone assumed like the Commanders had one of the worst defenses in the league, right? People were putting tons of points up on them.
They had the worst defense in the league.
Everyone assumed that this could be the Browns' sort of breakout offensive performance, but the Commanders D, they were out here beating the Browns like they owed them money or something. I guess it helps when you play like just a terrible offensive line like that. I mean, how many sacks? 7 sacks, I think they got. The big narrative coming out of this game is honestly how you kind of have to ask, how bad does Watson need to play before the Browns
That's
genuinely decide to bench him?
Yeah, that's my question, man. I don't know. Is he holding on to the ball too long? He just seems indecisive and it seems like he creates the pressure that comes on him. Maybe he's not seeing where the rush is coming from, and if he saw it before pre-snap, he could make the line adjust or something, or maybe the center's missing something. I don't know what it is, but 15 for 28, 125 yards. Come on, man. This is paltry. And his body language it doesn't look good, man. I don't know, man. I wonder how much of the locker room is behind him.
Probably none of it.
It feels like it's a front office thing keeping him there, and that does not look good for that team, man.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously have made one of the largest mistakes in NFL history, and they don't know what to do. Yeah. They're all stuck with this decision.
Cut ties, man. Might as well just eat it, cut ties, and it'll be all right in 3-4 years. You might stumble across a gem of a quarterback. Bring in a Ryan Fitzpatrick type to hold it together and make the fans happy and, lovable franchise for a little bit. But this ain't it right now. I feel bad for them. I feel great for Washington, but they've been here. They've been here with the franchise that you just embarrassed of.
That's a great point. Like the Bad Vibes Bowl is essentially what this is. Yeah. And you got one team who who very quickly turned those vibes around.
Yep.
They've gone from one of the most hated franchises to like one of the funnest teams in the league this year.
Yep.
New ownership. All the bad vibes are kind of out of the building and people are feeling hopeful. Maybe the Browns need to look across the sidelines and realize we could do that too. So, yeah.
Speaking of we could do that too, these two Spider-Man teams pointing at each other. The Jacksonville Jaguars and the Colts just couldn't stop scoring on each other, and it was 37-34 in the end. Jaguars squeaked out a victory. The last quarter was crazy, man. Wow. I'm looking at it now. The 17 points by the Jags and 24 points by the Colts, all in the fourth quarter. That is crazy.
That is crazy. It was not easy, but on his 21st birthday, T-Law and his associates finally got their first win of the season.
What birthday? 23rd?
25th.
25th, okay.
And the Colts' inability to win in Duval County since 2014 continues.
Jeez.
It's fascinating. Joe Flacco continued to prove that Anthony Richardson should sit for the rest of the year, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Learn how to play the position. Colts couldn't run the ball because they didn't have Jonathan Taylor.
No.
So Joe Flacco was just slinging it. On the other side, the Jags found lightning in a bottle with Tank Bigsby, who might have the coolest name for a running back in the National Football League. He got a running back, named him Tank, out here with 101 yards and 2 touchdowns. T-Law was much better in this game. He had a great thing going on with his rookie wide receiver, Brian Thomas Jr.
That throw, we talked about his honeypot throw. It was a similar throw to a honeypot throw, even though it wasn't technically a honeypot because there was no safety. But Thomas put a move on the cornerback, or the cornerback was peeking in the backfield too, and he just left him. And that throw was so nice. He can throw a beautiful ball sometimes, but sometimes he throws a beautiful ball to the other team, which happened in this game too.
Yeah, and sometimes he throws a beautiful ball like 10 yards
out of bounds
beyond his receiver.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it took the Jags kicking a late field goal to break the tie in this one. And I'm giving the MVP to my man, former Bulldog Trayvon Walker, who had 3 sacks in this game. One of them a strip sack. Another one the game-clinching sack. And now, just like that, there's no more winless teams in the NFL. Jags are 1-4, headed to London.
Headed to the playoffs. You know they don't lose in London. So that's 2 games they're going to get right there. Then they'll be 3-4. Just the turnaround is coming, man.
I mean, one of those, obviously they play 2 games in London. They play one against the Bears. That one's going to be tough. The next one is against the Patriots. They should win that. So
yeah,
we'll see. If they get lucky, they win both of them. They're kind of
back in it.
Yeah, they're back in it.
In the AFC South. But there's one team in the AFC South that seems to be head and shoulders above the rest, and that's the Houston Texans. Well, record-wise. The product on the field isn't head and shoulders above the rest.
This was another ugly game full of a bunch of mistakes.
Yeah.
But none were more ridiculous than how the Bills blew it with this terrible clock management at the end of the game. I mean, I don't understand what they were thinking. The score is tied. There's 32 seconds left on the clock. The Bills began the drive from their own 3-yard line. I guess I kind of respect the idea that they're like playing to win or they're trying to get a first down, but they ran 3 straight incomplete, like kind of deep shot pass plays.
That's terrible.
And they took only 15 seconds off the clock. You know, they're forced to punt from their own end zone. The Texans' return man gets them immediately into field goal position.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They run one play, and then Kaimi Fairbairn struts on and pipes it for the game-winning field goal. The dumbest clock management situation I think I've seen ever.
That's pretty bad. You know what else was unfortunate? How we're all going to pretend like we didn't watch Josh Allen get a goddamn concussion and come back into the game. Get the fuck out of here if y'all trying to say that man didn't have a concussion.
Yeah.
He got pulled aside by the neurological specialist or whatever, but he got up shaking. Like, first he was laid out, arm went limp, his hand went like fucking limp, and I was like, oh, I've seen this before. as a Dolphins fan, oh no, feeling bad. Like, damn, it sucks that he's out like that. They wake him up. He lays down a little bit, shaking his head, all of the signs of a concussion. Then he walks off the field, meets with the specialist. I don't know. Comes back in the game, plays the rest of the game. I hope to goodness that he doesn't get hit in the head for the next few weeks, because we don't want to see somebody laid out like Tua was, because they're pretending this guy didn't get a concussion.
That was some obvious bullshit.
I was like, come on. I just assumed. I saw, like I said, I was watching on the side, you know what I mean? But I was like, damn, it sucks that he's out, you know what I mean? And then went back to watching the Dolphins game. And then I see Josh Allen later in the game, next time they had some back on red zone. I couldn't believe it.
I think he only missed one play. He came back in after one play.
Insane that they did. They should never pretend they care about these players. That was fucked up. His size as a human being does not mean his brain won't shake around in his skull.
I think he might have had a concussion before the game even started. I mean, he went 9 for 30, 131 yards. This is terrible.
Oh, I didn't see that stat line. God damn, he had 200 fewer yards than C.J. Stroud. God damn.
I mean, my takeaway from this is that the Bills
30.
This idea that the Bills are gonna
that's 30%, bro.
I know. The idea that they're anywhere close to threatening without a true number one wide receiver is really nothing more than an illusion. If I were them, I would jump in line and
Adams
break the bank to see if you can get Davante Adams in the building. To be honest,
I'd be going after like Jerry Rice, Davante Adams, Calvin Johnson. Come on, man. Everybody all Hall of Fame. They need something, man.
Yeah, well, Davante Adams, that brings us to our next game. The Raiders versus the Broncos. The Broncos put it on the Raiders, 34-18. We bet the over in this, and we banged it.
Yeah, man.
We hit it.
We said it.
The Raiders started, I mean, the beginning of the game, they looked really good. Minshew was like, throwing just dimes, nothing but complete passes. He throws a touchdown, first touchdown of his NFL career to my man, former Bulldog Brock Bowers. Love that. But then he went and threw a 100-yard pick six to Patrick Surtain.
What a nice play, man. It was a really dumb pass.
It was.
But Surtain...
He threw another pick to him later in the game.
Yeah, Surtain had 2 picks, yeah. It might have been AOC because they benched him.
No, I think Minshew threw 2 picks. And
it was him that threw. Oh, and
him.
That's when they benched him. Okay.
But O'Connell also threw a pick. Yeah, Minshew threw 2, and then O'Connell threw 1.
Yeah. I think O'Connell might have thrown the one to Surtain.
I mean,
because it kind of sealed the game.
Look, the Raiders made this game easy for the Broncos. That being said, this was a real. The Broncos are a real football team. I think, probably like a 9-8 type football team.
This was it last year, man. This is when they started coming into form last year.
Defense is legit.
Yeah.
Bo Nix is starting to look a little better every week. They're not the easy out that they were 2 years ago.
I think one scary stat. Most magic numbers in this game for the Raiders: 12-10. That's the completions between 2 quarterbacks. That's not good.
Oh my God!
If somebody's throwing 12 times, if somebody's throwing 17 times and somebody's throwing 20 times, that means somebody's fucking up, and you don't have a quarterback. Like you said before, if you got 2, you don't have any.
I think the rumors in the draft this year was that the Raiders their top target was Michael Penix. And when the Falcons took him, they didn't really have a backup plan. So
yeah, the Falcons did shock everybody with that.
Yeah, so I think this year, I think part of their willingness to get rid of Davante Adams is just they just know that when the next draft, it's going to be all about shopping for a quarterback for them. I think
Smith. Cam Smith gonna be a Raider. Then we had speaking of shock, the Cardinals beat the 49ers 24-23. Wow.
They did. It started with a really funny Kyler Murray 50-yard touchdown run where he points to the crowd as he's running.
Yeah.
Kind of sandwiched between a Kyle Shanahan blown lead and a late game-winning field goal to shock the 49ers fans. There was a blocked field goal scooped up and taken to the house by the 49ers. That was pretty – the late window was crazy.
Yeah, it was.
And then you had this situation where the 49ers kicker, Jake Moody, gets injured trying to make a tackle at one point.
Oh, yeah, they couldn't kick, yeah.
So then the punter had to step in. At one point, they said, well, Kyle Juszczyk is their emergency backup. I was like, I'm sorry, what? I was like, but he went, like, as soon as Moody got injured, Juszczyk was on the sidelines, like, practicing kicks. I was like, this has got to be a joke.
Yeah.
In the end, I think Juszczyk was the holder. This guy did, I forget the guys at Wisnowski, or he had some kind of weird name. He did actually make an extra point, but later in the game, you could tell the 49ers were playing like they were not interested in kicking field goals.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy threw 2 picks. Jordan Mason had a very costly fumble in the red zone, all of which kind of spoiled Brandon Ayuk's breakout performance of the season, had 147 yards on 8 catches. So kind of a bummer for them. But again, I mean, Kyle Shanahan, 13-point lead? Why should we be that shocked, honestly?
Yep. And it was something I can't remember now, game management-wise. He did something dumb. They didn't score in the second half, but game management-wise, I forget what it was. He did something goofy at the end of the game, but whatever. They lost. They're 2-3. Super Bowl hangover is what they're going to start calling it.
Mm-hmm.
Man, speaking of Super Bowl, the team I picked to win the Super Bowl is really limping across the start line. The Rams are 1-4, and they're putting up valiant efforts, but they just can't get it done, man. The only team they've beaten is the 49ers.
They really are, and I think it's a shame.
Yeah.
This is a team that refuses to die despite all of those injuries. I mean, Kieran Williams is still seemingly unstoppable.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed watching this rookie wide receiver, Jordan Whittington. He's kind of like their new Puka Nacua. I saw him a little bit in the preseason, and I was like, this guy's fucking good. He's fun to watch. He's definitely one to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Jordan Love threw probably the dumbest pick six I think I've ever seen it. Almost as dumb. The only thing that made it less dumb than the Carson Wentz pick six that he threw a couple years ago is that he didn't switch and throw it with his left hand.
With the left, yeah.
Remember that? That's the only thing. That one's still the dumbest. This one's the second dumbest I've ever seen.
And don't forget Will Levis. He threw a horrible one for week 1.
That's true. Will Levis. He's pretty close too. I mean, this was bad. I mean, I've said it on this podcast before. I don't have anything against Jordan Love. I think he's a good quarterback, but I think he's severely overrated coming into the season this year.
The hype train was ridiculous.
I don't think he's that good. I think he's still prone to make very dumb decisions, and this was one of them. He gets bumped. He's fallen out of the back of the end zone. He doesn't want to take a safety, so he just tosses it up to the Rams DB, who was literally just standing on the 2-yard line. Yeah. He just like 2 steps.
Ordering a hot dog. That man trying to order his hot dog. You throw on the balls. Oh, I'll take this instead.
Luckily for the Packers, Josh Jacobs had a hell of a day.
Yeah, he did.
But honestly, everyone just needs to sort of step aside and introduce the people to Packers tight end sensation Tucker Kraft.
Yes.
This man with that crazy rumbling 66-yard touchdown where it was like just
in and out along the sidelines.
Rolling thunder. Yeah. Like, oh my God.
That's when on the 3-minute thing with Steve Berman, when he does that thing. That's how it felt, like that type of thing.
Yeah, that was amazing.
I actually watched that yesterday or this morning. I used to watch that every week. The Steve Berman 3 minutes, fastest 3 minutes or whatever, when he breaks down all the games before Monday Night Football. And I rewinded all the way back to the beginning, and I watched him do that. I think that's going to be my new tradition when I watch the Monday game.
Nice.
To watch Steve Berman do that. Yeah, man. Speaking of tradition, tradition was broken. The Giants were supposed to lose again, and they found a way to beat the Seahawks.
They did, which was well-deserved, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, the game started with a Giants goal line fumble, which honestly looked like some bullshit to me. I think that was
I think he was a touchdown, too. He was obviously passed, I thought.
I think
but it was ruled. It was like they couldn't overturn it. It was like bad angles. They need to get maybe there should be like a chip in the ball. I don't know. Just something throwing it out there. Never been said before.
Well, regardless, he fumbles the ball. Rayshon Jenkins scoops it up, takes it 101 yards to the house. But the Giants outplayed the Seahawks in the first half by a lot.
That means their offense only scored 13 points.
It didn't really show up on the scoreboard for most of the night. But without Malik Neighbors and Devin Singletary, the next men up stepped up. Darius Slayton and Tyrone Tracy, they did just that. Slayton had 122 yards and a touchdown, and Tyrone.
It looks like Tyrone. Yeah.
Tyrone. He kept the chains moving, had 129 yards rushing. Giants D sacked Geno 7 times. And they held K9 to only 19 yards rushing. So
that's crazy.
The game on the line. Seahawks attempting to kick a game-tying field goal. Isaiah Simmons flies in, blocks the punt. Bryce Ford-Wheaton scoops it up and takes it 60 yards to the house.
I want to mention, it can't go unstated that they missed the call on that block punt thing. Block field goal.
Yeah.
Because the center was held down to let that guy jump over him.
There's a debate about that, and I don't know, honestly. Some people would say what you're saying. That it was a penalty, and some people are saying that you're allowed to block the center like that. There's nothing.
You can pull him like that, pull him down.
So it's a debate. Okay. I don't know who's right. I don't know who's wrong. To be honest,
you know what? If the ref don't call it, it's not a penalty. I guess
Certainly, yeah. That's
they shouldn't have only scored 13 points on offense against the Giants. Like score another touchdown or score 20 points on offense, and you got. Still not enough, but
agreed.
Score a little bit more, and you win the game.
Speaking of teams that can't score points, let's talk about the Steelers and the Cowboys. Wow. Okay, the Steelers defense obviously made it hard.
Yeah,
like they always do. But their offense was predictably anemic.
My thing was hard.
Yeah, exactly. Which allowed the Cowboys to kind of slip in and snatch this one away at the last second.
Yeah. So close to like typical Cowboys terror when he fumbled the ball. Elandon Roberts, who just all out, he's either going to take the wrong hole and miss the whole gap, you know what I mean, and ruin the play and get scored on, or he's going to fly through and make you fumble the ball with a tremendous, ferocious hit. And he hit him with a tremendous, ferocious hit. The ball flies out, and Dak was on the spot and got the ball, and then they win the game. That could have gone, man, sliding doors there.
Yeah.
Imagine the talking heads.
Yeah. Well, Stephen A. will still be talking shit about the Cowboys. That's like his Monday morning tradition. Dak had a very shaky performance. This game was delayed by quite a
man. I got to wake up and watch it.
Thunderstorm, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, fumble. But he delivered a dart when it mattered most.
Yeah.
To an unlikely hero in the form of Jalen Tolbert. Dallas finally got the run game going a little bit. The Steelers' inability to make this offense function on a consistent basis, especially their run game, it's just killing them.
Yeah, it's concerning.
We've been saying it from the beginning. There's no way they can't keep winning. scoring 17 points a game, they're not going to keep winning these games. You're going to run out of luck at some point.
Wasn't it like Denver last year? At first, like if you score 18 points, you're going to beat
Wasn't that 2 years ago?
Oh, 2 years ago. That's what it was.
The first year,
Nathaniel Hackett. Nathaniel Hackett's where they couldn't do shit.
That was crazy.
And then we had last night's game, man. The Saints, they had opportunity to win this game, but the Chiefs pull out another one, 5-0.
Yep.
One of the last undefeated teams out here, 26-13, beat the Saints.
I mean, the Chiefs took 2 recycled, irrelevant players in Kareem Hunt and Juju Smith-Schuster. You got Andy Reid firing shots into the night, letting all the other young whippersnapper coaches in the NFL know that they might be sexier than him, but they're definitely not smarter, and they're not as good at coaching football as he is. Yeah. Juju was a ghost in New England last year. Andy Reid says, oh, yeah, I can get him 130 yards on 7 receptions. Kareem Hunt dragging this dude off the couch. He ain't playing nowhere. He's in the building for 12 days. Andy Reid gets him 27 carries for 102 yards and a touchdown. It's crazy. And then, of course, you got the mad scientist, Steve Spagnuolo, dialing up the defense week after week, punishing Derek Carr on every chance that presented itself. They hold Alvin Kamara to only 26 yards rushing.
Did you see Derek Carr's interception?
Yeah.
What? Yeah. Like, what? I don't think he threw it like it was. Yeah. Lil Jon has something to say to you, Derek Carr. He threw the ball like he acted like it was 4th and 30 with 10 seconds left in the game. You know what I mean? Like he just launched it downfield. Maybe his pre-snap was tricked. Maybe he fell for got baited, but he just launched the ball. Oh man, it was like a punt.
Look, the Saints defense did a good job of forcing the Chiefs to settle for field goals instead of touchdowns. To make this game seem competitive. But make no mistake, the Chiefs dominated the Saints. The Chiefs had twice as many total yards in this game. They had twice as much time of possession. It was never really in doubt, to be honest. The first 2 weeks for the Saints, it's got to be a fluke.
Yep. They might be the bad good team.
They've lost 3 straight.
Yeah.
And now they have to face their division rival, Tampa Bay, who are dying to get back on the field after being humbled by the Atlanta Falcons. They cannot wait to get back on the field. They are salivating to get a hold of these Saints. And, I don't know. So,
flip 'em, pick 'em. You won this week.
I did.
I started off strong, man, and then I just started getting all the upsets fell on me. So,
yeah, it's true. I picked up most of the late games.
Yeah, man.
Happens.
It is what it is. We got some superlatives to go through.
Yes, Lord.
First, we'll take a break. All right, we're back. That was our Brisket and Friends commercial break. Brisket and Friends, don't forget you can get the best barbecue in Sweden right here, Stockholm. Brisket and Friends. Go to Brisket and Friends. Don't forget to ask for your SveNFL table breaker. They won't know what you're talking about, but it is delicious anyway. You don't get any discount or anything, but we feel good. Brisket and Friends. Check it out. Man, I could do my real MVP first because it's probably the same guy that you're gonna say.
I highly doubt that.
Oh, all right. Mine is Jared Goff, though he didn't play today. Okay, it's another Ravens player taking it from me this week. Lamar Jackson was in a straight-up video game mode in this game. Remember that Josh Allen impossible throw from about 3 weeks ago? We were all saying there's only a handful of players that can throw across their body while hitting out of bounds. Lamar Jackson proved that he's one of those quarterbacks, one of the best players that I've ever seen. He made that throw that we talked about, but first he picked up a low snap from the ground, bounced it off the ground, crossover dribble, and then he stiff-armed a pursuing linebacker. Then he scrambled toward the sidelines, and executed a jump pass dart between 3 defenders to Isaiah Likely for the touchdown. It was incredible. And he also had the most beautiful incomplete pass of the day when he held down L2 and then he flicked the right analog to the right and then faked out both defenders in order to get out of the sack danger and be able to throw the ball away. And I don't know if they paused the game and put it on All Pro instead of All Madden so that he could execute that, but my boy was dealing. And the final stat line was 24 for 42 with 348 yards, 4 tutties, no picks, tack on 55 rushing yards, and you've got what looks like the best quarterback in football right now. And I know people think that that's blasphemy because Patrick Mahomes still has air in his lungs, but Lamar is playing better, and he definitely played better on Sunday. So I got to say, Lamar Jackson.
You the real MVP.
Back-to-back MVPs? Question mark? You think you win it again?
Oh, you mean, I thought you meant.
In real life.
Real MVP. Maybe. Yeah, it's possible. Keep playing like this. It's happened before.
My real MVP, Kadarrell Hodge. A 29-year-old, mostly special teamer, started out as a quarterback at Alcorn State. Goes to community college where he starts playing wide receiver. Winds up at Prairie View A&M in Texas. This is an HBCU guy.
Yeah.
Came into the league undrafted 6 years ago. He's a Ram, gets cut. Winds up with the Browns, catching passes from Baker Mayfield. Gets COVID, sent to IR, let go.
Damn.
Goes to the Lions, cut. As a Falcon, he only gets wide receiver targets if somebody gets hurt. He stays late after practice and helps the rookie quarterback Michael Penix get some extra reps in at the end of the day. Because why? He's a fucking team guy. That's why. Over his entire career, this dude has only had 57 total receptions.
Damn.
He gets 2 catches in this game. That last one, reception number 59, walking the Bucs off in overtime. That is the one that'll live on in infamy. Kadarrell Hodge.
You the real MVP.
Oh, wow. Who's your trash?
The correct answer is Deshaun Watson and the Browns, but we've been beating that drum all year. So I decided to pivot towards the obligations which have been bestowed upon me as an elected president of Fuck Kyle Shanahan Island.
Whoa.
You have a 23-10 lead at the half. You went 1-6 in the red zone. You could not stop turning the ball over. You lied through your teeth about the McCaffrey injury. And I also think you're lying about Deebo Samuel as well, but that doesn't stop you from trotting him out, on the field like he's some sort of a decoy, getting only 3 targets in the entire game. And the cherry on top, it's the blown double-digit lead. This man blows more leads than a sex worker in a Catholic church confessional booth. Nobody since 2017, the year Kyle Shanahan was hired as the 49ers coach, has blown more double-digit fourth quarter leads. No one. Okay?
Really?
Kyle fucking Shanahan. I'm telling you. Fuck Kyle Shanahan Island is real. Join us if you dare or if you like to party.
You are trash!
I looked up Steve Wilks to see what he's doing because they're giving up points too. It's looking bad for him, man. He fired that dude, acting like that was the problem, and now they look worse. When they used to hang their hat on their defense. All right, my trash is pretty simple.
Hey, Ron, where are you?
Aaron Rodgers got outplayed by Sam Darnold. In Sam Darnold's worst performance of the season.
Actually, can you just repeat that sentence one more time? I just want to hear it one more time.
Aaron Donald got outplayed by Sam Darnold in Sam Darnold's worst performance of the season. Who would have predicted that would be a sentence stated after a weekend of football?
Absurd.
Well, it happened. Aaron Rodgers ran up against a Viking defense that was ready for his seemingly smaller and smaller bag of tricks. The wow, what precision back shoulder passes were met by ready defenders, and that seemed to leave the Jets' offense reeling. The defense actually could have won the game, holding the Vikings offense to 16 points if it weren't for a pick six by Rodgers to Andrew Van Ginkel. Rodgers just looked off today and kind of all season. Maybe we can credit the savvy Vikings defense, but I don't know. Rodgers seems grounded and stationary, and that mobile part of his game must be what this team needs. He looks middle of the road, and it's now hurting the team. 29 of 54 for 244 yards is not a good percentage or average. Running the ball 14 times in the game is proof that the team really wants you to be that guy, Ron. But the problem this week is
You are trash!
my shit got learned. Mm-hmm. I can't find it. All right, never mind. I was gonna use the soundboard for this one too, but we might have deleted the sound. But my shit got learned is the Raiders are in full on menace to society. You know you done fucked up right mode right now. It's starting to become clear that the Antonio Pierce experiment is coming to a close. I thought he was in over his head from the beginning, and I hope he gets another shot sometime down the line, a la Raheem Morris. But this team looks lost. The star wide receiver is demanding a trade. The quarterback situation is possibly the most unstable in the league. A rookie quarterback, perhaps the worst of this year's batch of quarterbacks, went 19 for 27 for 206 yards and 2 tutties on your defense, and you're a defensive coach. A win would have meant so much for the Pierce era, but that loss may have shown the organization that taking GM advice from an edge rusher is probably not the best move. That's the shit I got learned.
Sound advice.
Thanks, Max Crosby.
The shit that I learned is also Raiders related. All reports suggest that the Devontae Adams trade is imminent, likely to happen in the next 48 hours. Okay. If that is true, the shit that I learned is that Devontae Adams, if he saw the games that I saw this weekend, he needs to seriously reconsider the idea of where he prefers to be traded. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers and Derek Carr, those are his buddies, his former teammates. If I'm him looking at that Jets O-line, I'm thinking, how the hell is Aaron Rodgers supposed to throw me the ball if he's laying on the ground the whole game? Regarding the Saints, that offense got pushed off a cliff 3 weeks ago, and now Derek Carr suffers an oblique injury late in the game against the Chiefs. Is it a contusion? Is it a broken rib? We actually don't know at the moment. Regardless, you tried Derek Carr already, and it didn't work. You can blame it on Josh McDaniels all you want, but do you really, really want to rely on Dennis Allen as your head coach? Between Aaron Rodgers and his dud in London and Derek Carr's egg that he laid on Monday night, if there was a God, this would qualify as him or her sending you a message. Okay?
Stay where you are.
Or open your mind, expand your options, look around at more functional franchises. That's all I'm saying. That's the shit I learned.
Nice. You putting any spec out there?
I'm putting some spec on Brian Daboll.
Okay, we're in the same ballpark.
Yeah, Brian Daboll and Daniel Jones to a lesser extent. And, the New York Football Giants defense, of course. They were the ones who clearly had been written off, but decided not to write back in this situation. Beating the Seahawks.
They wrote me off. I ain't right back, though.
Beating them without Malik Neighbors. Did they need a blocked kick return for a touchdown to kind of steal this one? Yeah. But make no mistake, the Giants outplayed the Seahawks and looked really good doing it. And I'm most impressed by Daboll, who continues to prove that he knows how to press the right buttons despite having an inferior roster to work with. I do not predict any form of consistency from the Giants, but for this week, honestly, I just have to put some spec on the name.
Put some respect on my name.
I'm putting some spec on Daniel Jones. So the GM's son may have been right about Jaden Daniels being better for the team than Jones. That contract was considered a horrible blunder up until the Browns hold my beer offer to Deshaun Watson. But this season hasn't exactly been an Undertaker revival at all. But on Sunday, Daniel Jones reminded everyone that there's a reason he's a starting quarterback in this league. He carved up the Seahawks defense and ruined a lot of parlays, including ours, in a victory over the favorite Seahawks. I know it was a crazy ending and an amazing play, missed holding call that allowed the field goal play. But it was Jones staying out of his own team's way and them getting and them ahead with his 23 for 34, 267, 2 tutties, no picks that got this team to the win. So he's probably telling everybody.
Put some respect on my name.
Who's your scariest AFC team?
It's Ravens. 100%.
Agreed. Everybody knows that.
It's a shaky win, but they're the number one rushing team in the NFL, top 10 in passing, number one defense when stopping the run. They're the best. They're just the best team in football right now.
Agreed. Who's the scariest NFC team?
Normally, I would say I have no fucking idea, but to me, it feels like a coin toss. I mean, the Lions didn't play this week.
Right.
The scariest team that I saw playing this week, to me, the Commanders.
Okay, I was going to say the Vikings. Okay, I like that. Commanders. That's true because their defense stepped up. All right, man. We got a pigskin pick'em leader. We don't have an eliminator update because we all lost, but there's a gentleman named Alexander who's holding the number one spot alone. I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast. I do know I mentioned it, that I forgot to make a bunch of picks last week, but I'm still third place.
Not bad.
I'm just saying.
If you win without...
Watch yourselves. I will never stop talking about it. That one time. We're going to be podcasting with real old. Remember that time? Remember that time back in 2024? Yeah, so watch out for me, man. I'm coming for you, Alexander. Shout out to you, though. Good job. That's it, huh? Did we do that? We did that?
I did this.
The boy.
Man, did this dude just did this?
Thank you, John Starks, for that soundbite. We really appreciate you, sir. And so glad you got dunked on by Jordan in that replay that we'll never forget. Thank you all for listening to SveNFL. Glad this is over. We'll be back next week. No, we're going to be back to predict next week's game. So stay tuned for that. This has been Jonathan Rollins.
Skip Mizara.
With SveNFL. Peace.
Later, y'all.
Get serious.